my name is Seema and I'm here to teach you a new lesson on some smart expressions with the word make. Now, I know this is a very common word, right? So how many of you can tell me what is the meaning of make? Well, I'm sure you know. Make generally is used to explain the word create. You make something. You make a cake, right? Or you produce something. But the great thing about English is that you don't need to know really big words to speak good English. Even if you know this word, you can speak a lot of English and speak really well. You know how? You simply have to pair this word with a preposition or an adverb, and you will come out with some really smart expressions by using this simple word. Now, in grammar, these smart expressions are also called as phrasal verbs. And believe me, when you use phrasal verbs, you are going to sound like a really fluent speaker. In fact, a lot of native speakers frequently use phrasal verbs or smart expressions with many verbs. But today I will take you through the expressions with the verb make. The first expression is make up. Now we have paired this word make with the preposition up. Okay? But now make will no longer mean create, because now that we've paired these two words together, they come together to mean something totally different. They mean to forgive each other. So when I say to make up, it simply means to forgive each other. So how do we use that in a sentence? The couple decided to make up after last night's fight. So as you can see, they're not looking very happy. They're quite angry at each other. I'm guessing the guy probably burnt dinner last night and they had a big fight. So it's fine now because they have decided to make up, or they've decided to forgive each other. We can use it in another sentence by saying, why don't we just make up and forget everything that happened? Okay, so another couple or maybe just friends, they're obviously going through a disagreement of some sort, but they want to just make up. They want to forgive each other and forget everything that happened. They want to make it right? So that is make up for you. Okay, we have another expression which is make up for. Now, please note that we have make up, but we also have another preposition. So we've got two prepositions, and the expression is make up for. It means to compensate, or it means to repay, or it means to reimburse. Now, what do you mean by these words? They all mean the same thing, right? I mean, each of these words, they mean the exact same thing. But what does it mean to compensate or repay or reimburse? So, compensate means to make sure that a loss is kind of not going to affect you so much. So, let's say, for example, you are in a business and the business is not doing too well, but you want to compensate by kind of working extra or maybe making better investments. So you are going to make sure that you repay or you compensate by reducing the loss. Okay, let's look at it in a sentence. So you say, I didn't exercise last week, but this week I made up for it. So what happened here? Last week, you didn't exercise. So there was some loss. What was the loss? The loss was that your diet plan did not really go in the direction that you wanted it to do, but you made up for it. I have mentioned the word made up because it happens to be the past tense of the word make. Okay, so you've got to also pay attention to the tense. If you are saying a sentence in the past tense or referring to something in the past like last week, then you will use made up. You will change the form, but the expression essentially stays the same. Okay, then we have another sentence to help you understand this a little better. You could say, we need to make up for the loss due to negligence. So over here, we've got some gentlemen sitting in an office in a board meeting discussing their work, and I'm assuming that they're probably going through a certain financial loss in their company, but they want to make up for the loss due to their negligence. They want to compensate, they want to repay, they want to reimburse and see how they can make it right. Okay, our next expression is make off. Another preposition used with the word make to give you another smart expression. So what does that mean? It means to understand or to make sense of something. Both of these expressions mean the same thing. When you understand something, you kind of see things more clearly. When you can make sense of something, you kind of see things more clearly. And how to use that in a sentence? You could say, I don't know what to make of his behavior. So this guy out here is quite strange, he's quite erratic, and he's probably not behaving like he usually does. So you're simply saying, I don't know what to make of his behavior. I don't understand his behavior. It just means that you're not able to make sense of his behavior. Okay, so you must use this sentence very often and this expression. You could also say, Miss Ria is quite strange. What do you make of her? So we've got this lady here and she's obviously very different. She's very unconventional and you don't understand her personality. And when that happens, you can always say, oh, did you see that girl? She's a little different. What do you make of her? That's one way of expressing that you don't understand something. So make of is basically used to say that you understand or you can make sense of something, and that's how you use it in a sentence. We have another expression which is make out. Okay, what does that mean? It means to see things clearly. It means to see things for what they really are. Now, I want to ask you a question. Can you see that gentleman over there? I can't. I mean, he could be anybody. He could be a friend. He could be, a movie star. He could be anybody. Well, why can I not see him? Because he's standing out there in the dark. So I would say it's hard to make out who's standing in the shadows. So when you cannot see things clearly, it means that you cannot make out things very well. Or if your handwriting is like mine, this is actually very close to the way I write, which is why we've now used the digital screen, as you can see. You can say something like, no one can make out, which means no one can clearly see or figure out my handwriting. In fact, the other phrasal word for this would also be figure out. So you have another one for you as well, okay? All right, then let's move on to the next one, which is make up things. Now here, we've used make with the preposition, but the word things happens to be a noun. Now why have we used this? Because we're making up what? We're making up things. And what does that really mean? It means to tell lies. It means to cook up stories. We cook food, but there are some people, in fact, a lot of people who love to cook up stories. In fact, cook up is also an expression to say that you're just making up things, you're just telling lies, you're not telling the truth. So let's see how we can use that in a sentence. Okay, so he made up things when he was questioned for being late. Okay, so as you can see, here's the boss and here's the employee. And this employee seems to have a problem with coming on time to work. And I'm assuming that this is not the first time he was questioned, right? So what does he do? He makes up things. He cooks up stories. One day he might tell the boss that he had to run an errand. The other day he might just tell his boss that, he met with an accident. But in reality, I'm pretty sure he just woke up late. He's making up things. He's making up stories. Okay, and we have another sentence here which says, stop making up things. I know it was you. Now, when you want to, call out people for something that they are doing, especially when they're telling lies, you can straight off tell them that stop lying, stop making up things. I know it was you. As you can see that the mother over here is reprimanding her child because she obviously believes that the child was telling lies about something. We now have another expression, which is make off. What does that mean? It means to hurry up or to escape with something. Obviously, when you're escaping or hurrying off, it means that you are running away from something, right? And that is pretty much what the expression make off means. So we have a sentence here which says, the pickpocket made off with the wallet. There's no way we can find him now, which is true. If you are on on the street late at night, possibly, you shouldn't really go alone because this is something that could happen to you. A pickpocket will take your wallet and he will make off, which means he will just run away or just hurry off with your wallet and you will never ever find him or her, right? So that's the meaning of make off. And then you have another sentence which says, let's make off before anyone finds out. So I love this picture because these are two siblings, I guess, and they're kind of doing something very naughty here. They're possibly pranking someone, but they want to make sure no one finds out. So they want to make off. They want to run away. They want to hurry away before anyone finds out what they've been up to, which is not a very good thing that they've been up to. Okay, then we have another expression which is make for. Another preposition which is for. And the meaning of make for is to move towards, to move in a certain direction. It could also mean to head for a certain direction. So they both mean the same thing and they are the meaning for this expression. In a sentence, you could say, please make for the door to your left to find your room. I think this is a really good expression to use in a formal situation. So if you are kind of showing a visitor in your office where to go and how to go, if you're giving instructions about where they have to go, you can use this expression by saying, sir, why don't you make for the room on your left? That's the conference room. So this is a very good expression. As you can see, there is a hotel manager who is explaining directions to his guests. Or if you are at work and you want to head toward your home or you want to go home, you will say, I have to make for home or my mom will be worried. Well, I have to say this all the time because I always get late at work. So I want to make for home. Okay, the other expression is make do. Okay, now what does this expression mean? Do is actually another word, but we are pairing it with make to give you a great phrasal verb, which means to adjust or to compromise. So what does that really mean when I say to adjust? It basically means I have to make do with or use whatever little I have. So in a sentence you could say, we have to make do with whatever little we have. So I'm assuming that they're not going through a great time financially. They have a very tight budget, but they have to possibly use a little of what they have and do the best that they can with what they have. So maybe they are just earning like maybe $200 a week, but they have to do everything with what they have. So they've got to make do with just that much of money. Okay, so these are the various expressions with make, and I'm sure if you use these expressions, your English will sound so much better. So I would urge you to keep practicing and to keep learning. In fact, I will want all of you to put in your comments and show me how you can use each of these expressions, or maybe at least two of them, to see how much you know. Okay, so I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying keep practicing and keep learning.